This is News Today and you're welcome. Coming up over the next 60 minutes, members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana embark on indefinite nationwide strike starting today. Institute of Economic Affairs, in partnership with Ghana Political Parties program, deliberate ways of improving Ghana's electoral system. Ahead in business, head of the International Monetary Fund warns a U.S. default could tip the world into recession. And on the foreign front, Italy stepping up sea and air patrols following the deaths of hundreds of migrants sailing in overcrowded boats from North Africa. And my name is Kemini Nyamani, and I'll bring you details of these stories and plenty more in a bit. You're watching News Today. Now, as part of efforts in improving the electoral system in the country, the Institute of Economic Affairs, in partnership with the Ghana Political Parties program, held a two-day post-election workshop geared towards providing practical recommendations to the Electoral Commission for reforms. According to a senior fellow at the Institute, Dr. John Kwache, the workshop will provide a platform for constructive review of the current electoral system and offer practical recommendations for reform.
To do it dispassionately, frank, and let everybody speak as to the issue. You know, we should not have that party coloration. It is about leadership. That is why every time we say it's about leadership. And the party that produces the leadership, we do not find out what goes on in the party. How do we groom our leaders? Nobody cares about that. We need to look at the Constitution. And I hope this will be part of the constitutional review implementation.
But, in the last few weeks, the Electoral Commission called for the various political parties to come and then share ideas as regards the, reforms. But it seems as if most of the political parties didn't really find it favorable to respond, because they were saying that they shouldn't be seen to be the ones who will lead the discussion. So I think that is why the IEA decided that they can bring the political parties together, and then we can brainstorm as to which areas need to be, adjusted. So this is the effort that we're making. At least we have agreed among ourselves that there are some areas that needs looking into. We haven't finished as at now, so we'll continue in this direction. After the end of the exercise, whatever we agree upon, we'll pass it on to the Electoral Commission for them to consider, applying them.
Any other thing you want to add to it?
Well, I would say this is a very good exercise, and I hope and pray that we will all face it as, serious stakeholders in the whole business. No partisanship. The effect of the judgment is gone. We have forgotten about that one, and I hope we will all continue in that spirit so that we come up with what is really best for this country, and in the end we'll continue to get the credit that we've always gotten, in the larger African continent.
Okay, thank you so
Right, thanks.
It's more of education and how we position political parties to, how we should support political parties. Political parties in the country are not in the position to perform the way they should perform. We are all now talking about the role of party agents. Who are they? Are they competent enough to act the way they should act? Beyond being vigilant, the thought of things they are supposed to sign. And now so much premium is being put on the fact that their signature count a lot. But do they really understand? You are blaming political parties, but you are talking of training about 52,000 people. How do you train them?
Exactly.
The representatives who are here is going to give them opportunity to discuss some of the salient points, some of the things that did not go very well during the last elections, especially those that came up during the presidential petition. And those discussions, if they go well and the recommendations are made, If those recommendations are picked and then reforms are maybe done for us to be able to go into 2016 elections with better electoral process, maybe we'll be saving ourselves the problems of post-election petitions.
Call for electoral reforms was never an IEA agenda. Rather, it was part of the general consensus reached by the members of the GPPP, namely the 4 general secretaries and the national chairman of the parliamentary political parties from the beginning of last year regarding what could form the basis of activities for this year. We are working closely with the Electoral Commission and hope that the outcome of this workshop and the consensus reached will be adopted as the contribution of the IEA GPPP towards improving the integrity of Ghana's electoral system. We urge you to bring your rich experience to bear on the discussions. This is not a time to apportion blame. As the IEA GPPP has always done, we are here to put aside our partisan colorations and to engage in constructive discussions. The history of our 4th Republic shows that no political party can stay in power forever. It is therefore imperative that we contribute our quota in dealing with the challenges of our electoral system and to create the peaceful and enabling environment for all of us to thrive, whether in government or in opposition. I wish you fruitful deliberations. But before I take my seat, let me take the opportunity to introduce the chairman for today's occasion. And he is in the person of Mr. David Kanga.
It's so important to make our election transparent. And the process, all the elections is won and lost at the polling station.
Now, members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana have embarked on an indefinite nationwide strike starting today, Monday, October 14. The National Executives Committee instructed its members on Friday to lay down their tools in protest of unpaid allowances. Joining us by telephone is my colleague Eric Curtis Howard. We've been trying to gauge the impact of this strike on government machinery, and let's go over to the ministries live and join my colleague Eric Curtis Howard.
Taking a great effect. The officers of strike action. That nationwide to report. So this board.
We'll get back to Eric when we're able to sort out that technical challenge. Let's do some other stories now. And about 67 people are being held for screening at the Ghana Immigration Service after failing to acquire the necessary permits needed in order to reside in the country. The foreigners were arrested in a dawn swoop on Sunday at a place known as Tea Club in Lai suburb here in Accra, where the women amongst them were believed to have been engaged in prostitution. The Public Relations Officer of the GIS, Francis Palmdetti, spoke to Joy News. Well, before we take that bite, let's do some other stories and then we'll get that bite. African heads of states are supporting a project to build up the capacity of pharmaceutical manufacturing companies to make the continent self-sufficient in fighting diseases including HIV and AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis. The project will fight against counterfeit and substandard medicines and increase production of high quality and affordable medicines locally.
Team of partners for the implementation of the business plan for the Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Plan for Africa, PMPA, is a plan mandated by the heads of state of the African Union. PMPA comprises the African Union Commission, UNIDO, UNDP, African Development Bank, United States Pharmacopoeia Convention, and Federation of African Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Associations. A 13-member delegation from the consortium has spent a week in the country as their first point of call in Africa to study ways of pushing the agenda forward. The team, which is in Ghana at the invitation of President John Dramani Mahama, has met with officials of the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, and National Development and Planning Commission. They are understudying the public health situation in the country, the political will and commitment to ensure progress in the pharmaceutical industry, and how industry players can produce drugs that will meet international standards of safety. The consortium visited Lagre, a leading Ghanaian pharmaceutical company at Nswam in the eastern region, to inspect facilities at the factory as part of the preparatory stages for the project. Lagre is reputed for being the first company in West Africa with the technology to manufacture pharmaceuticals from start to finish. The coordinator of public health innovation and intellectual property at the WHO in Geneva, Dr. Zafar Mirza, said the consortium was put in place to offer financial and technical assistance to support local pharmaceutical industries in Africa to grow.
Through this scheme of things, I think there will be an opportunity to expand that list in a careful way. And if you have some already thinking available, whether as an industry or as PMAG, I think that will be very helpful for this consortium to look at it, to engage with you, first of all, in that discussion, and then take it to the next level in our recommendations or our engagement with the.
He said in Ghana, the pharmaceutical companies are producing under capacity and cannot even meet 30% of drugs needed locally. Dr. Meza said the bottom line approach of the consortium is to develop good pharmaceutical business plans for the local industries in order to boost production. The chair of the Federation of African Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association, Dr. Paul Latte, said the zeal of Lagre to produce quality products is not going with the needed market to be able to break even. He expressed the need for Ghana to expand the 14 drugs listed for restricted local production to enhance business growth.
We have a competitive advantage in our urban products. These have been in man already. Most of them have been in man. And where there is scientific evidence for efficacy and for safety in man, you have pretty much skipped all of the expensive early processes, and you are just into where you would have to develop it into an acceptable dosage form, do some clinical studies to get the dosage right, and then you have a new chemical entity out there. So those thoughts have been there. The time, the opportunity.
Now, members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, I told you earlier, have embarked on an indefinite nationwide strike starting today, Monday, October 14. The National Executive Committee instructed its members on Friday to lay down their tools in protest of unpaid allowances. And we've been trying to gauge the impact of the strike on government machinery. And so let's join my colleague Eric Etisawod, who is pitch camp at the various ministries, who join us with live updates. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Kemini. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. What can you tell us about happenings where you are?
Okay, currently I am at the Registrar General's Department, and I got here just about 5 minutes ago, and the information I picked from persons here or the patrons here indicates that from this morning, as early as 6 a.m., the officers of the Registrar General's Department have been locked till now. And there is a notice before you enter into the main premises of the Registrar General Department. CLOSAG has issued a notice, and on the notice they said that with effect from today, there is a strike action which is legal. It's been sanctioned by CLOSAG. So no member of CLOSAG should enter into the premises of the Registrar General and work. And what the security have done is that they cordon off the area. The main gates leading to the entrance of the Registrar General Department have been blocked. So that is preventing vehicles and persons who have legitimate business to conduct there from having access to the premises. The situation has caused traffic on the demonstration route near the Ghana News Agency Road and towards the Environmental Protection Agency. So this is the situation currently here. Other department that we happen to have visited, that's the Birth and Death Registry. It's a similar situation there. The place is under lock and key, and the CLOSAG members are not working. Coming in.
Right. You visited a number of areas also, and the situation seems to be the same. How would you, from what you've observed, how do you think this would affect government's business?
Okay, for a place like the Registrar General Department, we know that this is where businesses in the country are registered and business data are collected, information about businesses in the country. And we know we cannot underestimate the fact that the private sector is the engine of growth in the country. So once such a place has been locked, it's going to have a great toll on the operations of the Registrar General or businesses, and because some of the people that we spoke to said others came here to register their businesses, others came here to have an update on their business, others came here to change their business name, others came here to make some payments. So all this is going to really affect government today, because we are counting as many as about 40 people here who have legitimate business to transact at the Registrar General Department who do not have access to the place. And this is going to have a great toll on the impact of private businesses in the country, because this is where most of the business transactions as the registration of business are done. With the Birth and Death Registry, for instance, one thing we realized was that a lot of people were going there, to register for their birth certificates, to register as well and everything, and the death registry as well. And when during this registration process, it brings money to government. And here's the case, the place is also lost, and there's no business being conducted there, so which is that government is losing huge revenue. It's big money that could have otherwise been used for other sectors of the economy to grow the country. So it's having a great toll on people, because if you look at the countenances of the people here, you could see that they are so much disadvantaged, and they are totally not in support of the strike action. But hey, CLOSAG say until government gives them their money, this is how the situation is going to be like. So this is the situation currently here at the various places that we visit.
Thank you very much, Curtis, for that update. Eric Curtis Howard joined us live from the Registrar General's Department, where he's been touring some government institutions after CLOSAG announced a strike effective this morning. This is News Today. When I return, we'll look at some more stories. Thanks for staying on. This is News Today. Moving right on. Savannah Accelerated Development Authority has signed a memorandum of understanding worth 62,110 Ghana cedis with the Faculty of Renewable Natural Resources of the University of Development Studies for the latter to undertake specific audits. Under the MOU, UDS would conduct a survey on the total number of trees planted by ACI Construction through the Sada Afforestation Project, which began in June 2012. Here's a report from WA.
According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, Gilbert Seidu Idi, the tree planting project started 15 months ago to plant 5 million seedlings. To assess the progress of the project, SADA signed a memorandum of understanding with the Faculty of Renewable Natural Resources of the University for Development Studies to do a thorough audit of the project to know how many trees can survive, how many need tendering, and the number that can be handed over to the communities.
Field was planted in 2 stages. The first stage was planted sometime last year, and when they realized that the weather condition was too harsh for the seedlings, they had to stop planting. And then this year they came back and did another planting. So you can see a clear distinction between the trees that were planted last year and those that were planted this year.
He toured Dorimo, Wechau and Ipala in the Wild West district, where about 45 acres of cassia seeds were planted. Alhaji Gilbert Idi expressed satisfaction with the progress on the farms, remarking that critics of SADA have been a little too impatient.
If for any reason the report comes out and says that there is any shortfall on the number of trees that have been planted, we expect ACI to be able to make the difference at their own cost. Other stakeholders, who are involved in tree planting, who can all do a very thorough job in order to do an analysis of the situation and be able to advise us on the, success of the whole project. Then after that, if there is any criticism, it will be very welcome.
Despite the criticism, the SADA CEO believes the project will achieve its goal.
SADA is rolling out its strategies, and SADA will certainly achieve the objectives for which SADA has been established. I am very confident that it will. We have received a lot of criticism. For me, it has been a very healthy sign. It is just an indication that Ghanaians are willing and determined to see SADA succeed. No one wants to see SADA fail, and management takes that responsibility to make sure that we cannot disappoint Ghanaians, and for that matter, the way forward is success.
Rafik Salam's report from Wechau in the Wild West district.
Let's go back to the Clocksug issue. And remember, I told you that they have embarked on an indefinite nationwide strike effective today. Now, in a statement released by the association, they cited the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission for unilaterally terminating the process of arbitration because they withdrew their participation. Joining me by telephone is El Ankra, he's Head of Public Affairs at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. El.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. But what do you make of this accusation brought against you by Clocksug?
Well, first of all, let me give you an update, a quick scoop. We're just from the National Labour Commission.
Right.
They invited both parties, so they look into this issue. Unfortunately, Clocksug did not turn up. According to the Labour Commission, Clocksug called in to say, in fact, they were approached by the Labour Commission by phone, and they said they had sent some form of a response, a letter to the National Labour Commission, which hadn't arrived to the Labour Commission yet, after they hadn't laid their hands on yet. So, and that's the state of the situation right now. But this is
so this meeting between yourself, Clocksug, and the Labour Commission didn't hold today.
Yeah, it was supposed to have taken place today. We were there, and the arbitrator from the Labour Commission was there. The Clocksug was not there. And when they were approached, when they were called by the official from the Labour Commission, they said they had written to the Labour Commission. So we are all waiting to see what their letter said, and then we'll move on from there.
I see. And they have, perhaps they are taking after you because they tell us that the first process was terminated unilaterally by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission because you withdrew from the arbitration process.
This is how labor law works in this country. You can only go for mediation or arbitration if we're in any form of negotiation that is deadlocked. If you are not negotiating anything, you don't have to go through those processes. They are asking for what they term top-up allowance. Let the multi-TV newsroom research into the single spine. Go on our website, read any material you can get hands on regarding the single spine and find out if you will locate anything called top-up allowance. Does not exist anywhere. And so we said, no, this allowance does not exist anywhere. Justify, because even if you justify, we will be able to tell you what kind of allowance it is and where it can be
your salary. There are categories 2 and 3 allowances, as and when allowances. And there are other form of allowances which fall under certain categories. Top-up allowances don't exist, and we asked them to justify. And then they relate it to the interim market premium that education, tertiary, and the medical health institutions are enjoying. Those allowances were meant to solve certain problems prior to their migration to a single fund. Those groups were enjoying, and those institutions were enjoying a certain level of premium before being migrated onto the single fund. And that is not the case for CLOSAC, and that's not the case for the so-called top-up allowance they are on strike about. So that's the only issue. Fair wages and salary institutions, we don't have a problem with anybody. Whatever you're demanding, you just have to justify it.
And so that was why you withdrew from the process before?
Yeah, it's a matter of technicality. Then by our presence at the National Labour Commission, we have even softened our stance on that arbitration thing. By law, if you are not negotiating anything, you don't go for mediation or even arbitration on it. You must be negotiating something, and then maybe that issue gets to a deadlock. The two parties are not coming to a good understanding. Then you could go for mediation. And if after the mediation you don't still come to a good heading, then you can go for voluntary arbitration. We were not negotiating anything with CLOSAC. We were not negotiating a non-existent top-up allowance. But yes, we went for the mediation because of our respect for the National Labour Commission. And we made it clear to them that we are not negotiating anything. And then they said, okay, let's go for arbitration, voluntary arbitration. We protested it. We said, well, we are not negotiating anything. So what are we going for arbitration for? In any case, as a matter of industrial relations, we softened our stance, and this morning we were at the National Labour Commission on their invitation. The CLOSAC did not show up.
Right, but it's the same issue they are bringing to the table. So what is the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission going to do this time, differently this time?
Well, we're going to table what we are telling you right now. It does not exist. The top-up allowance does not exist. There's no such thing as a top-up allowance. CLOSAC knows that. National Labour Commission knows that. Anyone who is addressed on issues connected with a single stand body will tell you that there is no such thing as top-up allowance. We will go there and put that on the table, and that's our position.
Right. Thank you very much, El. El Ankra is head of public affairs at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. He's told us that the top-up allowance that CLOSAC is looking for does not exist. And a quick update on the issue is the fact that the National Labour Commission called both parties to the table, but CLOSAC did not turn up. You're watching News Today. Let's now do some other stories. And French President Francois Hollande is in Pretoria for his first state visit to South Africa. Hollande was greeted by International Relations Minister Maite Nkwana before setting off for the Union Buildings, where he will be received by President Jacob Zuma. The visit is expected to take relations between the two countries to a higher level. Hollande's visit will particularly be used to deepen cooperation in areas such as manufacturing, skills development, energy, maritime, agriculture, science and technology, arts and culture, as well as development cooperation. The two leaders are also expected to discuss cooperation on peace and security on the continent and the promotion of Africa's regional infrastructure development program and economic integration initiatives. The head of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, has warned that a U.S. default could tip the world into a recession. In a U.S. TV interview, she said a default would result in massive disruption the world over. The U.S. Treasury will start to run short of funds on Thursday if no agreement is reached for it to raise its debt limit. Democratic and Republican leaders in the Senate held direct talks for the first time in weeks on Saturday, but there is still little sign of any breakthrough, correspondents say. The president of the World Bank, Jim Yong Kim, has also expressed his concern over the situation. Kim urged U.S. policymakers to reach a deal to raise the government's debt ceiling before Thursday's deadline. Christine Lagarde said America must now raise the debt ceiling before Thursday's deadline.
If there is that degree of disruption, that lack of certainty, that lack of trust in the US signature, it would mean massive disruption the world over, and we would be at risk of tipping yet again into recession.
News Today returns after this. You're welcome back to News Today. Let's now do some sports brought to you by Tigo. Right, and so the Ghana Premier League entered week 6 last weekend. 7 matches were played at 7 league centers. The fixture between Asante Kotoko and Sekondi Hasakas has been postponed to Thursday, October 17. Here are results of the other 7 matches that were played. Hearts of Oak won the match against Brekum Chelsea, and Edubiasi FC drew 1-1 with Bechem United. Amidao's Professionals had a 3-1 win over King Faisal, and Dwarfs lost 1-0 to Liberty Professional. Adriana Stars won 1-0 against Hearts of Lions, while All Stars won 3-2 against Inter Allies, and Mediama SC a goalless draw with Ashanti Gold FC. So here's how the league table currently looks like after week 6. So Kotoko is top of the table with 15 points. Hearts of Oak follows with 15 points as well. But I believe the difference is somewhere in the goal difference and the likes. And then it's followed by Ash Gold with 12 points. Heart of Lions comes close with 11 points. Adriana Stars follows with 10. Bechem United with 9 points. Amidao's Professionals 8 points. Liberty with 8 points. And then Dwarfs is at the bottom of the table with 7 points. Right, not exactly the bottom. There is Wild Stars with 7 points. Mediama SC also with 7 points. And Brekum Chelsea with 5 points. King Faisal with 5 points as well. Edubia FC with 4 points. Hasaka is also with 3 points. And now the real bottom leaders, Inter Allies, with 0. General Captain of the Black Stars, John Menson, says Coach Akwesi Appiah has a solution to the team defensive worries. The Black Stars head into next Tuesday's World Cup qualifier against Egypt with a number of key absentees. Defenders Isaac Vossah, John Boy and Jonathan Mensah are all ruled out of the crucial game due to injuries. This has given the technical handlers a lot to worry about leading up to a game which is against one of the finest on the continent. There were calls for a shake-up in the team defensive unit after the last group game against Zambia at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. A game the Stars won 2-1 to qualify to the playoffs. Mensah said Kwesi Appiah is an experienced coach and will therefore be prepared for such a situation. The race to next year's World Cup in Brazil continues with some teams already qualified. First, let's check out the highlights of the 4 African qualifiers that were played on Saturday and yesterday.
The World Cup, and Tunisia showed hunger up front as they tested out the Cameroon keeper Charles Atije. The keeper was once again at his best as he kept the indomitable Lions in the game with a superb save. The Cameroon side got stronger as the half went on, and Jean Makun could have opened the scoring after good work from Eto'o set him up, but he failed to find the target. The second half saw Tunisia once again get a golden chance to score, but substitute Ben Youssef wasted it when his header hit the post and went wide. It was proving to be an action-packed second half, but try as they may, both teams couldn't find the goal. Pierre Weber missed a sitter for Cameroon after losing his balance to sum up the match for his side. It proves to be a frustrating day at the office for both teams, but Cameroon will be the happier of the two.
World Cup qualifier on Sunday. On the back of their 2-0 success against the East Africans in the African Cup of Nations earlier this year, Nigeria had the first clear-cut chance. Namadi Ojamadi wasting the space he found in the Walia Antelopes box. Home fans were on their feet in the 24th minute when controversy struck.
Good control, look at that! Oh, it's gone in! Has it gone in? Well, he's celebrating as if it has. Saladin Saeed, and the goal hasn't been given.
The ball was deemed to have not crossed the line. Against the run of play, Ahmed Musa tested Jamal Tassu for the first time. Nigeria were finding it hard to cope with the pace and skill of their Ethiopian counterparts. Adonai Grima jinxing his way around the Super Eagles box only to fire over the top. With half-time beckoning, Saladin Saeed forced a great save from France-based Vincent Enyima. 0-0 at the break. Controversy was again the watchword 4 minutes before the hour mark when Enyima appeared to collect a Bailu Asefa cross before it had crossed the line, but the linesman disagreed as the home side were handed a 1-0 lead. Victor Moses should have levelled for Stephen Keshi's men, but Tassu spread himself smartly to make the save. The visitors would find their equaliser soon after, though, Emmanuel Emenike sending a thunderbolt into the back of the net. With 14 minutes remaining, John Obi Mikel slipped a pass to Musa, whose shot thundered against the post. 8 minutes before time, Ethiopia managed to get a ball into the Nigerian box. Godfrey Oboabona with a timely intervention to prevent the shot. The officials would have the final influence in Addis Ababa after Ainalem Hailu brought down Emenike on 90 minutes. Spartak Moscow strikers slotted home to hand the Super Eagles a 2-1 win and the advantage going into the second leg qualifier in Calabar in November.
Presented at the tournament in Brazil next year. Burkina Faso and Algeria were the first to lock horns in Ouagadougou, and it would be the host who would walk away 3-2 victors with goals from Jonathan Pichiopa, Jakara Jakone, and a late penalty from Aristide Banse. In Abidjan, Africa's top-ranked team Côte d'Ivoire proved to be too strong for Senegal as they handed them a 3-1 hiding. Goals from star striker Didier Drogba, Salomon Kalou, and an own goal from Ludovic Sané gave the Elephants the win and brings them a step closer to booking a ticket to South America.
Right now, world number 2, Novak Djokovic retained his Shanghai Masters title with a thrilling win over Juan Martín del Potro. The 26-year-old took advantage of the Argentine's sloppy service game and the first set before his opponent fought back to take the second level. Del Potro saved 2 match points in the 10th game of the decider, but the Serb proved too strong in the tie-break.
Del Potro came into this clash having impressively disposed of world number 1 Rafael Nadal in straight sets, while Novak Djokovic saw off Joe-Wilfried Tsonga. The first set belonged to the top-seeded Serbian as he completely outplayed Del Potro. Djokovic broke the Argentine in the second and fourth games and only dropped a single game as he marched on to a convincing 6-1 victory in the opening set. The sixth seed would turn things around in the second set as he took a 3-love lead, breaking Djokovic in the second game. The pair managed to hold serve for another 6 games as Del Potro held on to win the set 6-3. The deciding set was however a tighter affair as neither player dropped a serve for 12 games, forcing the match into a tiebreaker. After showing resistance for 2 games, Del Potro eventually folded, gifting Djokovic a 2-point lead. The Serb finally beat the Gatti Del Potro 7-3 in the tiebreaker to successfully defend his title and make a clean sweep in China.
He's done it. Djokovic is level 4 with China.
That'll be all for sports, brought to you by Tigo. Check out some international news. And the African Union Summit has demanded a deferral of the Hague trial of Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta due to start in November. The AU leaders meeting in Addis Ababa agreed to back immunity and any sitting of any African head of state. Senator McCorman, who formally kicked off the crusade for the country to withdraw from the court, says Kenyans overwhelmingly support the right of the president to refuse to appear before the Hague-based ICC. Italy is stepping up sea and air patrols following the deaths of hundreds of migrants sailing in overcrowded boats from North Africa. Prime Minister Enrico Letta said an air and naval package would start on Monday south of Sicily.
On Friday, at least 33 people died when their boat capsized between Malta and the Italian island of Lampedusa. A week earlier, more than 350 migrants died in another shipwreck off Lampedusa. Italy has previously called for EU help in dealing with the thousands of desperate migrants who wash up on its beaches every year. Many are families fleeing war and poverty in Africa and the Middle East who hope for a better life in Europe. But the recent loss of life has led to further calls for EU action. Defense Minister Mario Moro said Italy intended to triple its presence in the southern Mediterranean. According to the UN, some 32,000 migrants have arrived in Malta and Italy this year.
The head of the body tasked with destroying serious chemical weapons says fighting is preventing access to some sites to rebel-held areas. Ahmed Zumku of the Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons called for local short-term ceasefires to allow experts to work. Syria officially joins the Chemical Weapons Convention on Monday. The OPCW and the UN have had a team of 60 experts and support staff in Syria since 1st October. They are based in Damascus and have been carrying regular visits to facilities. It is the first time the OPCW has worked in a war zone since it was set up in 1997. The death toll from a stampede at a Hindu festival in the central Indian state of Pradesh has risen to 109. Many were crushed after panic broke out on a bridge near the temple. Others died when they jumped from the bridge into river water below. Meanwhile, funeral prayers have been burning throughout the night, with many of the victims already cremated. Hundreds of thousands had gathered for the festival Navratra, which is 9 nights. Officials said the stampede may have been sparked by a rumor that the bridge was about to collapse. A Malaysian court has ruled that non-Muslims cannot use the word Allah to refer to God, even in their own faith, overturning a 2009 lower court ruling. The appeals court said the term Allah must be exclusive to Islam or it could cause public disorder. People of faith use the word Allah in Malay to refer to their gods. Christians argue they have used the word which entered Malay from Arabic to refer to their God for centuries, and that the ruling violates their rights. One Malaysian Christian woman said the ruling would affect the community greatly. You're watching News Today. I'll be right back. Just before we get into some arts and entertainment news, let's go over to the central region where our correspondent Richard Kojo-Nyako is joining us over the telephone on an update on an armed robbery attack at the Ghana National College in the region. Hello, Richard. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
Right, what's the latest on this situation?
Well, the latest is that one of the teachers is in critical condition at the Central Regional Hospital, but the other has also been treated and discharged. The whole incident happened at 1 a.m. this dawn when armed robbers, numbering about 6, went to the teachers' quarters at the Ghana National College, and they demanded that they surrounded their car keys, their laptops, their mobile phones, and all of that. And so they will inflict machete wounds on the teachers. And in the process, the teachers said that they called the police station severally, but there wasn't any response. And so when the police came, the armed robbers had already taken to their heels. So it took the intervention of some of the teachers to mobilize some of the students to make a lot of noise to scare away the armed robbers. And so as we speak now, the Regional Police Command and the District Police Command have taken over the investigation, and they vowed to clamp down on the armed robbers.
How has this affected schoolwork?
Well, at the time I visited the school, the classes were in session, but the teachers were a bit frustrated, and they were loitering on campus because there were a lot of activities, there were a lot of visitors, the police personnel were there. And so the teachers were not actually in class because their staff members have been affected, and so they've been shuffling from the hospital and the school.
Many thanks, Richard. Richard Kojo-Nyakon is the Joy News correspondent from the Central region. And let's now do some showbiz. And a 19-year-old senior high school graduate, Naoyo Korte, has been crowned Miss Malaika 2013. She beat off competition from 9 other girls to her next coveted crown at a keenly contested finale at the National Theatre Saturday night.
The 11th edition of the Miss Malaika beauty pageant got off to an impressive start with Afro neo soul singer Ifya after a long delay. Ifya's performance came in handy as it appeared to have settled the audience after a long wait. Unlike previous years where the judges were the only ones who quizzed the final 10 delegates, the girls who were paired up took turns to question one another. But judges B. Arthur, Kafui Dave, Van Vicker, Theresa Ayoade and Maria of Big Brother The Chase fame also had the chance to ask the delegates some questions. This year's pageant had an added twist which saw the girls divided into groups with God Sisters. The God Sisters, actress and TV host Jocelyn Dumas, fashionista and lawyer Sandra Nkobia, and the former Miss Malaika winner and model Hamamat Montia were around to lend a hand to their girls. But the night would definitely not have been complete without a dash of entertainment from the all-female lineup, which included Raquel, Afro-pop singer Becca, and the female rap artist Easy. So, when it was all said and done, Naoyo Korte, the 19-year-old Wesley Girls High School graduate, became the 11th lady to wear the coveted Malaika crown, as well as walk home with a brand new Kia Rio and 6,000 Ghana cedis prize money. And God's sister Jocelyn Dumas was happy 2 of her girls, Naoyo and Chumwa Befi, emerged winner and first runner-up respectively.
Well, I mean, I'm very excited. Naoyo and Chumwa I mentored, so I'm very excited that you're part of the first 2. It was a good pageant, and I think the winner deserved it.
I'm so excited. I'm grateful to Miss Malaika Ghana for giving me this opportunity to help society, and I hope that my 1 year will be a mighty success.
Naoyo becomes the 3rd youngest queen in the history of the pageant after Hamamat Montia was crowned at age 18 in 2006 and Amanete was crowned at age 19 in 2010.
Right, news coming in indicates that there's been a demolition exercise at Botiano, and joining us over the telephone is DSP Freeman Tete to give us an update on the situation. DSP.
Hello.
Thanks for your time, but quickly, what exactly is happening at Botiano?
I thought you have a reporter there who is giving you information. You just want a confirmation from me.
It won't make any difference what is happening at Botiano.
Botiano, it's a writ of possession and demolition. It is the duty of the police to act on a court order.
We understand that this has affected a school building, and irrespective of the of class ongoing, the students, the building is being taken down.
Yes, it's a court order. It's not a duty of the police to do that. Ours is to supervise, to make sure that we provide adequate security coverage. So we don't partake in the exercise.
Absolutely.
So the police are just there on the orders of a court of competent jurisdiction to supervise a demolition exercise. The person has sent the case to court and judgment in his favor, and the courts have directed that he or she take possession of the property and also cause a demolition. And then, you know, it's a security issue. So the police normally come in based on a letter from the court.
Right.
Then our legal department will also affirm that letter, give directives as to what the police should do.
Right.
The role of the police in that.
So then, let me just ask about the school children. What security? Well, DSP Freeman Tete has dropped a line there, but that's just news coming in. We'll give you an update on subsequent bulletins. Just stay on here. A quick reminder of our headlines. Members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana embark on indefinite nationwide strike starting today. Institute of Economic Affairs, in partnership with Ghana Political Parties Program, deliberates ways of improving Ghana's electoral system. In business, head of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, warns the U.S. default could tip the world into recession. Italy stepping up sea and air patrols following deaths of hundreds of migrants sailing in overcrowded boats from North Africa. Reminder of our headlines. Thank you so much for watching News Today. I am Kemini Nyamani Amana. Goodbye.